At this point, you also want to save your work. Make sure you save often with these projects. These files are going to be pretty big, and we know our computers tend to glitch every once in a while. Sometimes people accidentally hit plugs. So save your work. File, save as, save it in your H drive in your Creative Project folder. Okay, the project's saved. Let's use our pen tool. You want to make sure that your fill is empty and your stroke, have your stroke be a different color than whatever it is that you're tracing. So I'm going to start with doing a red stroke on this first layer. I'm right here. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer. And then we're going to start with her eyes. So really, guys, always blow up on your images. Start with the small area and then move out and do the larger areas. So I've got my pen tool ready to go, and we're going to start with just doing her iris. Going to click and drag, and it looks like I'm going to struggle a little bit because my stroke is too big. So what do we need to do? We need to make our stroke a little smaller. We're going to make it at 0.5. You need to decide how much detail you're going to put into your work. I can go through and I could probably make 4 different paths on this image. Or I can just make a couple depending on, you know, what you want to have on your work. So I've had people do such detail on these projects that if you zoom out on them, they almost look realistic. And then I've also had people do some very, very basic where they just do a couple of different tones and then they're done. It all depends on how much time and how much effort you put into it. Obviously, the more you know, the better your work's going to be. So you have to kind of choose what you want to do on this and how much detail you want to have. Always fill in your puddles, because when you go and start to add color, so if I take this image and then I use my eyedropper tool, click on here, I'm adding color. If I did not close this path, it wouldn't have colored it in all the way. Alright, so eyedropper tool. Now watch what happens. So right now it just looks like all the detail has been taken away. The reason why is the order of my layers. Okay, so here's where you're going to have to go in and expand your layers and then change your layers around a little bit. So move your layers around so you can see the objects that you've done and keep going. Okay? So next step I'm ready to do is I'm ready to do her actual eyeball. And here's a little tip that I'm going to give everybody. When you go and do your eyeballs, if you make them bright white, you're going to look like a vampire or something ridiculous. So notice that I no longer have a stroke on here. It's because I took away the stroke, so I need to go back and add that. I'm going to make the fill empty so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going around and I'm making that not the pupil, I'm making the eyeball part of her eye. This is all going to be behind, so it doesn't really matter where I put that. Okay, so I've got that finished. You can see that's right here. I'm going to put that behind. And then I want to show you the difference. If I click on here, it's a tone that may be a little bit too dark, but here's where you can use the other side of her face and say, okay, this is selected, but maybe I want to make it this tone. See how it lightens up a little bit? Or this tone. Or you can even take your color panel and make it even lighter. So here's the color that it is now. I can click on there and make it even lighter. So notice the color's brightening up, even lighter. I highly suggest you stay away from bright white. So let's see, I don't have my, okay, so if I click on bright white, that's what it looks like. And that's like overpowering bright white vampire, right? You don't want that. you really want to stick with something slightly off-white. This is probably a little bit too dark, so I'm going to lighten it up. And hit OK. You see that? Okay, so I'm going to click to deselect, and I'm ready to move on. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go around this edge one more time to do this little tone color. Let's see I'm going to switch these two, go around. Okay. Then the stroke, I'm going to take that stroke off, click on the fill, use the eyedropper tool again, click on here, and then choose a tone for that, move that path underneath, and there's the eye so far. Before this demonstration is over, I want to show you a quick and easy way of doing the eyelashes. The eyelashes are fun to do. So using the eyelashes, the pencil tool. So here's our pencil tool. We're going to take the fill off, put the stroke at black for now, or you can actually choose the stroke with that stroke color with the eyedropper tool. Notice it went back to my fill. I'm going to switch the two of these. And then all I'm going to do, let's make a new layer here. So grab that pencil tool. The stroke is the color that I chose with my eyedropper tool. And I'm going to go back and forth. And you can always add more or take some out later, so don't worry about making it completely perfect. I'm going back and forth and trying to get that eyelash texture. Alright, so I'm going to deselect so you guys can see what I've done. And then there I have the eyelashes done. You can go back and do, note you have top and bottom eyelashes. You can go back and do the bottom eyelashes. And then that's how you get started with the eyes. Do both of your eyes and then move out. Start to do more details like the mouth, the nose. And let me know if you have any questions.